Let's talk about Disney's 100th year celebration, Wish. Disney Animation Studio is one of my favorite studios, if not my favorite studio in the world. They make heartfelt, beautiful, memorable movies that transcend not just years or decades, but transcend generations. It's movies that are some of the first movies we watch when we grow up. It's movies that we share with the next generation. It's transcended time and space, and it will go on for eternity. Wish celebrates this legacy of Disney animation being around for 100 years. And ultimately, I don't think this film holds up as a top tier Disney animated film that would celebrate what Disney is all about. However, it is still a enjoyable movie that I had a good time with, that kind of harkened back to more classic and traditional Disney storytelling. It's definitely a movie that Disney fans will enjoy more so because of all the references and cameos and little hints at Disney through the decades that is present throughout this film. Asha has 7 friends that are reminiscent of the 7 dwarves. There's little sight gags of magical items, the creation of certain characters throughout the Disney universe. And that's what this movie is ultimately doing. It is just celebrating Disney. It's not trying to be its own thing. It is trying to celebrate everything that's come before. I wish, pun intended, that this movie did sort of embrace its own identity, because there is so much that they could have explored here. There are moments in this movie that are really good. There's some really interesting moments and ideas that this movie brings up, but it doesn't completely explore it. Like the concept of wishes, I like what they're trying to do with the wishes, that he's safeguarding it. Doesn't really give much reason to it, but you don't always need a reason for why the bad guys want to be bad. And that brings me to one of my positive moments in this film, is that we got a genuinely bad villain. And that's something that's been missing in Disney for almost a decade or two. And we haven't really gotten a traditional evil villain since like Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog. And King Magnifico is just wickedly fun. I love Chris Pine's performance here. The song "This Is the Things That I Get" that was being made fun of on TikTok is actually a fun villain song. It's genuinely good. It builds up, it gets really intense, and I'm not gonna say it's one of the greatest villain songs, but it's definitely a really good list. And that song is actually really stuck in my head after the movie has ended. Asha, I enjoy her, and I think Ariana DeBose gives a stellar voice performance and brings this character to life. But she does kind of is just a culmination of past Disney princesses that we've gotten in recent years. Just these super bubbly, high personality characters that kind of have followed the same trope as Rapunzel, but she doesn't have a super her own identity like, Anna has, or Encanto's Maribel has. But again, solid character. This movie overall is just solid. There are some really good moments. The songs themselves are good for the most part. I don't think they're bad by any means. There are some standouts, like I said, This Is the Things I Get, This Wish. Those are some remarkable moments in this film. And then there's this rally up song towards the end, and the final song and number. They're just really well done, and the score is actually really good. Overall, this is a movie that is celebrating Disney and Disney history. It is a fun time. There is nothing super in depth about this film. And it doesn't need to be. You just want to go and enjoy something that's a little bit more traditional Disney. It's not going to blow your socks off, but there are going to be some moments that are genuinely fun. And I really enjoyed King Magnifico's performance in here, and I generally think he's a really good, fun Disney villain. And I do wish this movie wasn't being so bombarded, because it's not a bad movie by any means, but it's definitely not a great movie. I could see why a lot of people would have problems with it or think it's a little lazy or whatnot, but I don't think it's lazy at all. I think it definitely is paying homage to what has come before it, and it's just a well told story that's fun. That's not trying to do anything more than just be a good time.